We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. I show it the 6:02, May 23rd, 2023, of a special meeting for the Elliott County Fiscal Court. All right, number 2 is approved to hire a new school resource officer / deputy. So with us is Superintendent Debbie Stevens. She has been kind enough to sit through the last presentation. And Debbie, the floor is yours if you would like to kind of walk us through this process. And I did turn the hair off. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I didn't dress appropriately.
Chris sent me a text saying it was a little cooling.
I know it's getting cold. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank the Fiscal Court and Judge Lewis for partnering with us to allow us to have an SRO for the last 5 years. The school board does pay the salary of the deputy for the time that we use him. So with Walker Price, there was some kind of grant opportunity. He's put in some more time that we didn't have to pay for. So, we've got extra law enforcement. I appreciate that. But I wanted to walk you all through how the budget would work for us to get a second one. I mean, I am so glad that we'll be able to do this because we don't have the technology to run the police force. We're in education. We're not in making officers. So in order to get someone that was qualified, who was dedicated and had the experience, we had to offer them more than we actually could afford. But we managed to take some money from different pots, and we're able to offer Patrick Smith a year-round, 40 hours a week, $18 an hour. So he'll be working for the school board, $185 for 185 days a year. Those are the school days. Any days outside of school that he's needed here in the county, then he's going to be yours. But in order for us to have someone that qualified, we had, to make the package something that he could live with. So we also are proud, pleased to be able to partner with you all to continue paying for Walker Craze to be with us. We give him $19 an hour for 185 school days. But that's really all I had to say. I just wanted to thank you all for the partnership and say,
Well, you're welcome for the training on the wells deal there. So.
I live over in Iceville too, so I know a little bit where home.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that Homer is the name of a field. Not a last name. That's what I was thinking. It's somebody named Homer.
I think it should have been Homers with an S.
Right, but I'm thinking it's like an oil field. I don't know.
Yeah, but oil fields up there around where I was at years ago included several different farms. They included maybe 25 wells in this field that they had a name for, or in an area. It's an area. It wasn't really one confined
But
spot.
I bet they each had names according to who lived there. I bet that's how they were named. But I will get Crystal the documents showing how much we pay. That's all we can afford to pay. I know that the more law enforcement we have in the county, the better that we all are. But I always fix a little document so that she knows how much the school board pays annually. And then she invoices our office and then we just reimburse.
So you're moving up to 2 RSOs.
That's all right.
That's good. That's improved.
That's great.
Thank you.
Well, you're missing an underlying message there. She's not only moving up to 2 school resource officers. The school is they're paying. They're not giving anything. At the end of the day, the taxpayer pays the bill. But they are through this contract allowing to make it sizable enough to where he can live in a comfortable lifestyle or in the lifestyle in which he chooses or that works for him. He's getting summer when he's not needed at school. The school board is assisting the county in his salary as well, up to 40 hours per week. Anything on top of that, we'll have to have that conversation. But, and that would definitely be a conversation I would want to have before we move forward in that. But this is huge. You're putting another police officer on the street in Elliott County to serve all citizens. And during school, our children are that much more safe. So
One be stationed at Lakeside, one at Sandy Hook. Is that the idea? Okay.
Debbie, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
And then on behalf of just myself and my family, thanks for your years of service.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
you for the
Yeah, thank
You substitute taught me when you were pregnant with your daughter. Well, if that tells you my memory of you from just a few years ago.
I'm not mistaken, I was over in there too in training.
I remember.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Over
David.
Lakeside, they.
Appreciate
Eighth
it.
grade.
Yep, from all back.
Thank you so much, Debbie, for everything.
Thank you.
Appreciate you all.
We wish you all the best.
I'm gonna go get more.
I want to add this while we're on this subject of Patrick Smith, that the sheriff's office has hired him currently as court security officer. So you all will see him on payroll, and it's $9 an hour, just so you all are informed about that.
And Patrick, and that was something Patrick worked out with the sheriff.
Yes.
So that didn't happen in our office, that happened in the office downstairs. And checking it out, everything's fine with that. He is a certified peace officer, he has been through the training, he's ready to go, and he came to us.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Michael, a second by Chris, is there any further discussion? That's it, all in favor signify by saying aye, please. Ayes have it. Thank you all. Number 3, acknowledge Jennifer Carter's hiring of an election officer with the pay rate of $11 per hour. Madam Clerk?
Yeah, we've had, early voting is a state law now, and it's here to stay. We have to have 3 days of all day in person, early voting prior to every election day. So that's here to stay. I need at least one person, with experience who can be there to sign them in and get them voted, get them in and out. And we paid for the past 2 years $10 an hour to the same individual, and I'm asking that she get $11. But we only have that one officer that's actually working that poll during the vote. We also have 7 days of in-person excused voting anytime during that 7 days. If you're going to be out of town, you're going to medical procedure, you can come to the courthouse and vote. That's countywide, and that's a requirement. So we have to have somebody there all those days through to election day.
And I'm just going to add this, the reason this has come up this year is normally election workers don't exceed $600
Right.
per year.
Yes.
But this person did, and I learned last year that I cannot issue a 1099 for an election worker, so they actually have to be put on our payroll. And that's what we're adding somebody else on our payroll, and I wanted the court to be aware.
Aren't they hired by the Board of Elections?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Well,
how
she's
could-
hired through my office, Charles, not through the county. She's hired, we have had approval with our Board of Elections that they agree with her $1 an hour increase, and she's been selected by them and me. So she's not hired by the county. It's an election expense to the county to hold the elections.
How many hours per year do you see this?
Same as, she's gonna have the same she had last year and this year. It's just,
Any idea what that,
8 hours a day, well, we can estimate it, 7, 10, 8 hours a day for
112
10
hours.
days at least, and probably, say, 8 hours a day, 12 days at least, and that's what it is.
so primary is one, general is another.
Yeah, it's 2 times a year. You
Yeah.
have the same requirements for the primary as you do the general.
Do the poll workers, do you give them 1099s for what their daily fee is, or you got them on payroll as well?
They're less than $600.
So you can do
So-
1099 on
I
them?
don't have to do anything if it's less than.
Okay.
An election day poll worker makes $125 a day, and that's just middle of the road, that we're not on the upper scale, we're not on the bottom of the scale, but they just make that 1 day a year, plus we try to pay them for their training, $25 for their training.
Why wasn't this brought to their attention earlier? That you had to go on that way?
Whenever
It
I
was
was.
known of, because you said last year you paid them, you couldn't give them 1099.
When I learned this in January, whenever I was preparing 1099s, and I called Jennifer at that time and told her.
And wouldn't that be the responsibility of the Board of elections to inform this individual when they hired them that they would have to be taxes taken out?
Well, I took that upon myself to tell her that she had to have that.
It's exactly what it is to be $1,232 a year.
She-
At $11 an hour.
Technically, she's not an employee of the Board of Elections either, she's an employee of the county.
Do you think?
Well, if she goes on county payroll, she would be, wouldn't she?
Well, she's not on the payroll right now, Chris. The way
But she will be.
She will be, if you put her on the payroll, that's what
Well,
she
no,
said.
it's kind of weird because, I mean, it's kind of like the sheriff hiring, Patrick Smith for court security, you know? I think they can do that with their prospective offices, but then I'm like, well, but I don't want them to do that and you all not be aware that I'm adding somebody on payroll either. So, you know, I'm not real sure, but to be safe, I wanted you all to know about it, at least.
It's gotta be done anyway, I mean.
Either way, it's gotta happen.
Do we set the rate, or is the rate already set and this is just what we're?
No.
You set the rate. Jennifer paid her 10, she's asking for 11, but at the end of the
Well,
day,
actually, she did not ask for 11. That was me.
well, when I say she gave it to you,
But the previous year has been $10 an hour is what it's been. And that's for our other election people that we've had 2 or 3 times was $10 an hour.
Well, if you have an elected official, what is their daily pay for a 12-hour pay?
It just varies. That varies
125?
county to county.
But we, as Elliott County, it's
It varies.
125, right?
It's what?
125?
No, when you're saying 125.
Well, if you had Michael or me, we can't, but if you did, if you had us work as a judge or a sheriff at one of these
Yeah, listen,
precincts.
That is 6 to 6, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on election day. It works out about the same.
Yeah, it's $10,
Yeah,
42
it's,
cents.
And if they're a clerk, don't they get an extra $10 if they take care of the
No, we pay all poll workers the same price.
125?
125 flat. And that's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., so it works out about the same.
Does that come through like your budget, Jennifer?
No, that actually is an election expense of the county, not what that comes from,
which account's that roll out of?
General.
general.
Well, what concerns me is if she's on the county payroll, that puts me in jeopardy. Because it's my wife we're talking about.
You ain't Jeopardy, Charles.
Well, if she can't work for the county fiscal court.
The county attorney, Lewis, please.
We know, we've already answered this question, but that's not the way it's being stated, is what I'm telling you. If she's an official for the Board of Elections,
She's not.
she does not work for it.
She's an election officer. She's not
So-
on the Board of Elections at all.
But if she's on the fiscal court's payroll, she's still not
Now,
working for it.
that's out of my job description. I have nothing to do with.
Well, I mean, to me, that's a valid question. If you put her in as a fiscal court employee, then she becomes an employee of the fiscal court, which is us, which then puts me in jeopardy because
So
of it.
what was the issue, Crystal, with what was the limit?
600.
Okay, $600 limit, and because she was over, what did you get from that?
Yeah, because she made over $600 a year, I had to issue her a 1099. Well, whenever I went to do that and was researching that, election workers can't be paid 1099s and you have to pay them on a W-2. Well, in order for her to get a W-2, I have to put her on the county's payroll.
Well, regardless, she's done the work and we have to pay her. So, I mean, at this point, it's.
We owe her up to what she's
I
done
mean, there's
today.
nothing we can do about it. We have to pay what's owed.
She's already worked May.
Yeah, she's already working, so.
She's one of the longest serving poll workers we have in this county. And she's one of the best poll workers we have in this county. And we're lucky to have her from 8 to 4 every day early voting and every day of excused in-person voting.
Johnny?
The issue is just whether you're going to pay her 11 an hour, right?
That's what's on the special meeting agenda. It's actually only an acknowledgement.
It's just an acknowledgement too. I mean, it's nothing to vote on. It's,
Yeah.
we'd have to have another meeting about that because it's not on this special meeting agenda to talk about all these other issues, is it?
We can't vote yes, no, or anything.
No,
We're just
we can't.
acknowledging what's already been done.
Yeah.
Motion to acknowledge. Second.
The motion by Dewey, the second by Brian. Any further discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. I have a feeling we might talk about this again. Okay, old business. Number one, approve the second reading of the discontinuance of maintenance on R. Reynolds Road. We've gone through the process.
Okay, I was wondering if we'd heard back from the road foreman or two people. had-
Disinterested parties, I did receive that.
Here they are.
Okay, that's what I was making sure. I'll make a motion to take it off the map.
A motion by Brian with a second by Darren. Is there any further discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, everybody take a breath. New business. Number one, acknowledge the Elliott County Conservation District budget.
Make a motion.
Second.
A motion by Dewey, and a second by Chris. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Ayes have it. Number two, approve admin code change addition regarding payroll magistrate. Or, I'm sorry, treasurer.
I wanted to add this. Whenever I went to my training this year, they said whenever you have an employee with two different pay rates, and we do with Walker, so he's SRO and then he's deputy. So one is at $18 per hour and one's at 19. They said there that you can do the, figure the weighted average overtime or just pay at the higher rate. And what they encouraged down there was to just pay at the higher rate, since figuring the weighted average overtime, and I've included what steps you'd have to take to figure that each time. It's in here. Since it's a longer process, they just said pay at the higher rate. So I wanted to change our admin code to reflect that.
If you're wondering where I stand on this, I'm for it. However, there's a caveat here. If there ever comes an instance where somebody works with the fiscal court, where say they do one job because they just want to do that job, but then they do another job because they have a master's degree in something and they want a significant more amount of money, or their training says that they should make a significant amount more of money. And then they work this job because they're partly retired, and then but if they fall back into this job, it's a significant amount more of money. I would want to then revisit this immediately. So if you bring somebody in and you're paying $12 an hour, but all of a sudden there comes a day when we've got somebody that's going to make $23 an hour, but this job pays $12, I would not want them to pay the higher rate of $23 an hour whenever they were doing the $12 an hour function. That may never happen, but that's something that sticks in my mind that could happen.
Couldn't this have added on it if approved by the board or approved by the fiscal court? Shouldn't that be added on there? So you'd have to be bring up that certain circumstances you're just talking about.
I would almost say it would need to be employee specific, or it would need to be visited per the dual roles or the dual.
Yeah, it would need to be.
I just want to be careful there. I want to protect us.
I can see it.
And protect anybody after us that may be sitting in our chairs.
And I just don't want to calculate payroll improperly. I'm just.
Yeah. She's doing this to CYA and to make things a little bit easier, and I'm all for that. I've got my seal of approval on this. However, I just want you to understand, things change, things can happen, so I would want to almost visit it on a case by case basis if someone had dual roles with. And I'll tell you this, any one of you who works a job today, you're seeing that it's harder to find quality people, so they're paying more. And they're also allowing those people to jump over here and be a utility player in this area and be a utility player in this area. So I just want us to be cognizant of that and understand that things can happen.
Make a motion.
Second.
The motion by Dewey, the second by Michael. Any further discussion?
I got one question.
Yes.
With the consumer price index, do our employees get that every year? Does that go?
No,
Okay.
we don't go by CPI.
I wondered about that.
No. No, we've been able to give salary increases the last, well, I can only speak in my terms, the last few years, but we don't go by CPI. Because CPI it's really taken a spike in the last 2 years with some things that are going on in inflation and cost of goods, cost of living, cost of commodities. That's really happening. We have not taken CPI at all into consideration.
Just wondered.
Any further discussion? With that said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please. Any opposed? Thank you. Number 3, approve the Big Stone grant resolution. We've been working on this for a while and we're getting closer. Trying to get water at Big Stone. I have a $250,000 grant that we've been initially approved for, and we're getting much closer. The issue where it stands today is finding a place to put the pump station. And we're working through property owners there close to where you go on up Glen Carter Road or head up to, on up Big Stone proper, trying to find where we can purchase a piece of land to put a pump station, because it's going to have a pump station there. That is at the very end of Round Water's line. That actually feeds from the tower on 3C Trail. So you can immediately go, wow, that's a lot of water lines. Well, you're at the very end, so we've got to do a pump station. But this is a formality. The resolution is a formality to allow us to get through the next channel to make it on through the grant.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Michael, a second by Brian. Is there any further discussion? With that said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Number 4, approve the first reading of the Elliott County Fiscal Court's third budget amendment. Treasurer.
This is our third budget amendment for the year. These amounts here you see in the far right column will be the amounts that we received in excess of budgeted amounts. And on the last page, you'll see the expense accounts that I'm putting the money into. And I'm just putting them in reserve accounts to be transferred out later.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by Chris with a second by Dewey. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you. Number 5, approve the first reading of the Elliott County Fiscal Court's 23-24 budget. We've sit down and, I'm sorry. We've sit down and gone through this. It's been on my desk now for a month and a half, and we've talked about it. This is just a first read. Obviously, the second read by law has to be hammered out by you by the end of June, and we have to have it ready to submit. But this is my initial budget to you for the county in the year 23-24.
We're gonna do another budget workshop this year like we did a couple years back before COVID hit, before we actually sit down and done it.
You can. Did we have 3 magistrates come in your office, and is that how that went?
I did talk to one
Yeah,
of
we
them
did
last
2
time.
different times, so we break everybody up.
Yeah. If you want to do it again, that's fine.
I think it'd be a great idea.
We are prepared.
I think.
Just to be freshened up on it, everybody on the same
That's fine.
page.
I'm gonna just explain a little bit to what you have there. The first in your packet, I think it's like maybe 3 or 4 pages long. That breaks the budget down by major codes, so it's just easy to see in total what's coming in and out. The second one there has every line item broken down for the current year, and that's receipts and expenses. And then that third packet, which is usually what you all like to see, it goes back to fiscal year 2018-19 through what we budgeted for 23-24. So you see those years there.
The flow chart.
Yes. That's what it is.
Motion to approve.
Thanks. Motion by, I'm sorry?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Chris. Motion by Charles, a second by Chris. Any further discussion? That said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you all. Number 6, approved road cost allocation worksheet.
This is just what tells me what can be transferred out of the road fund to the general fund. I usually do that every year. Sometimes we'll transfer it back over to the road fund. Some years we don't. It depends on if we need it or not, where it's needed the most. But I like to do this, that way we always have the option.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Michael, the second by Dewey. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Let's have it. Thank you all. Number 7, approve annual order to pre-approve certain recurring expenses.
So I'm allowed to write checks without your approval first out of these account codes. And what should be listed here, and I believe they are payroll accounts, debt accounts, and then utility accounts, what I would pay, like Grayson RECC or the water bill. That's all that really should be listed there.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Chris and a second by Brian. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's have it. Number 8, approve to apply for the waste tire grant.
Motion approved. Second.
Motion by Dewey, second by Brian. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Thank you. Number 9, approve the reimbursement form for AOC. This is the yearly form that we fill out with the estimated cost of us operating this courthouse. And
Yes.
then any work that we think we may perform on such.
Yeah, they reimburse us for like the space that the circuit clerk's office.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Chris, a second by Charles. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Thank you. Number 9, nope, we're there. Number 10, approve dispatcher Johnny Boggs a $1 raise upon completion of Dispatch Academy. Johnny Boggs completed Dispatch Academy.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Michael, second by Dewey. Any discussion? That's it. All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
They have a heck of a ceremony down there at Eastern when they do that. That was really, really nice, wasn't it, Jim? It was a good time. Texas Roadhouse was good.
I wonder if we should do something like a award from the fiscal court or something to.
I think it would be very nice because that's pretty intense training they go through.
Yeah, it's a pretty intense job all the way around. But, yeah. Just a thought for going forward.
I'm,
Graduated distinguished, by the way. He graduated distinguished.
That's awesome.
he did a really great job. Okay, number 11, approve the Round County Detention Center Agreement as I advised you a month ago, where we are going from $35 a day per inmate to $42 a day per inmate. The cost of housing is going up. I was in several Zoom calls, and I now sit on the JEA Legislative Board, and on that are some really, really good judge executives. And some of them are saying that it's now costing upwards of $50 a day to house inmates. And that's just nuts. Now, the legislature in Frankfurt is going to take up discussion on trying to help with that. But don't think that may trickle down to Elliott County. If they're helping if they're, first of all, if they're going to help, it's going to be the least that they can agree upon, which is what anybody would do. It's a negotiation process. Second, I think the most, this is just me talking, I think most of the alleviation, if there's going to be any relief, is going to be for counties with the jails in their counties, not necessarily counties who contract with said jails. So I would love to say that it'll drop back down from 42 back down to 35, but don't hold your breath. I just think that that's a realistic number that we're heading to. And Round County said to me, Judge Clark said he's upwards of $46 a day himself. Now you go down around Whitley County on the Tennessee state line, it's around $50.
That's a 20% increase.
Yes, sir.
Did you factor that into the budget for next year?
Yes, sir. I did. We took it up. We said, yeah, yes, sir. That was a conversation, and it's still being held because it's.
Motion to approve, I guess.
Second.
Yeah. Motion by Charles, a second by Brian. Is there any further discussion? That's it. All in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
and I'll show you, or read it to you real fast, what account is that out of, Crystal?
Oh, sorry.
03 account. We've taken it from $291,466 in what is actually spent this year so far. We've raised it up to $343,000 for next fiscal year. So that's in the round one of budgets that I've submitted to you all.
At one time, we talked to Judge Wilhoit about the ankle bracelets and releasing these people.
That's still in conversation.
I wonder how we get it put in the press lane and use it.
Will
That's gonna be a lot on your, having to deal with
It's-
probably Judge Phillips and
Well,
Rocket.
It would save us a lot of money.
conversation is between the attorneys, and the judges. That's, if you know where the fiscal court stands, then the county attorney would probably need to work with the judge, or the Commonwealth attorney would need to work with the circuit judge. And that conversation, at the end of the day, Johnny, am I right, the circuit judge is gonna make a big call there?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
By and large, the people that are in jail are those that have gone through circuit court on felony charges. It's not those that are going through district court.
It's putting people at home that should be in jail is what it's doing. You're sending people home to monitor them that should be in jail.
I was
So,
talking to,
You save $42 a day if somebody's not in jail, I guess, but still, then you're sending them home too with an ankle bracelet, so that's something to think about too.
I was talking to Cabell County's, they have a complete division dedicated to that, and to be on that program, it costs them $10 a day. They don't pay it, they go right back to jail. They have to come in every Monday and pay for their ankle monitor. Those fees go directly to the county.
Is
That's what I was
there any limit to what they're charged with as far as being released back to home incarceration? Or when you're talking about circuit court, you're talking about felony charges?
Correct.
So, I mean, does that, any felony charges, or is there a certain level?
It all depends on the person, that their history, there are any number of factors that figure in on the judge's mentality on whether or not to allow anybody even out on bond. So
Oh, I understand.
apply as to whether or not they qualify to be out and on an ankle monitor. That would be decided on a case-by-case basis.
Case-by-case basis.
I'm just still wondering why they had a $90,000 budget when we first come in here like 4 or 5 years ago.
Do what?
Just a $90,000 jail budget, we come in here that first year.
Well, COVID, it dropped significantly.
That was the only time I did
I think the
that.
first,
Well, I mean, that was the budget, but it's still,
I think it was 125.
so, is that what it was? I know it wasn't very much, we still went over a whole
Then
lot.
we got 225.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah, yeah. All right, number 12, approved to renew the ER Assist contract. Jim, you want to talk about that real briefly?
Yeah, if y'all familiar with the last, since 2020, the ice storm, we actually, Laurel and Tool with the ERCs, they came in and they've actually helped us manage the recovery of funds through the process. And they have been a tremendous help. I know Crystal and I are true believers in it. I know my race too. But we've renewed every year since then. So it's that time.
I make a motion to renew.
Second.
The motion by Dewey, the second by Chris. Just a quick discussion on this. 4711 is the newest round of FEMA talks that we're in. That was February 15th and 16th. That was the rains that we experienced then. The county has already taken care of 90% of what was done. We have a job on Briar Fork. We have 2 jobs on Briar Fork, 2 jobs on Briar Fork. I don't know that we have any more. So this can be a win-win for us. She's going to help us navigate through this. We'll get paid for our equipment, our time, all the way down to everything that was used to take care of those issues through. And there was 17 roads that were impacted. Don't ask me, I don't have a list in front of me, but I can provide it to you. But we jumped all over that. Thomas Boggs worked like a rented mule to try to get in there and take care of them things. And the guys hauled rock to him to make these things go away. And it was a great feat. The guys worked really hard. You always need to give them a high five, but for that 4711 that we're in right now, that was approved through the DC, the guys did a great job. We just gotta,
That was just approved 2 weeks ago.
yeah, I'll let you guys know that. So, it's a real big deal. Any further discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Any opposed? Thank you. Number 13, discuss approved bids for porch on the double wide. I only received one bid. I did get a call from the state building inspector. We're going to slow down a little bit on this. He wants to see some plans. So I'm coming up with plans. I'm working through an architect. And we're going to back up. I talked this over with Mr. Adkins, who has this bid here. And this is for a porch and a handicap ramp on the front of it. So I've got to work through some things with an architect, and I'll be back in touch with you guys on that. Wood frame porch. Okay, so his math isn't right. I need to talk to him about this. Metal underpinning and wood frame. This is Atkins and Sons Construction, West Liberty. Wood frame porch with a metal roof, wood frame wheelchair ramp. He has material 8,021.22, 8,021.22, and he has labor at 2,598, which is 10,619.22. On his bid, he has 15,619.22. So I'm gonna give Mr. Atkins a call and ask him about this.
We need to table it then.
You've got time to table it because I've got to go through a state building inspector. So if you
Motion
want,
table.
Second.
motion by Dewey, the second by Chris. I want to set this aside because I want him to resubmit that. Any discussion on that? That said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please. Okay, I just want to get it right. Thank you all. Motion carries. Discuss approved bids for the work on Bruin property. We've got several here, but they're doing several different jobs. So this, I don't know who this is, so we're gonna look and see. Okay, this is ice and excavating and septic installation. So as far as I know, going through this, Tracy and Clay and Levy Ison both were putting in bids to do the septic work and the field work, excavation work, to clean it up for us. This is, I guess, Levy and Clay's bid. So 5-ton excavator, $75 an hour, multi-terrain loader, $75 an hour, general labor, $35 per hour, and I'm assuming that's going to be per person. Company proposal, system to be installed per guidelines set by Gateway Health District, and I already have that in hand at the office on my desk. Site evaluation application 0249 and Kentucky on-site sewage disposal regulations. All material, labor, and equipment needed other than stated above required for completion of this project provided by sewer. Okay, what is stated above? I should have got to that first. Clearing and repairing of roadway leading to project site, rock for leach field and curtain drain, extra cover soil if group 3 or better soil cannot be robbed from site. These items are to be provided by the county. I told them we would supply a rock. I told Tracy we would supply a rock whenever I had that conversation. It's cheaper for us if we get the rock ourselves and we supply it to the job site. Our total cost of this project will be $11,696. Here's their insurance. The back page is the insurance. So $11,696, and then plus any extra work for, it's the clearing and repairing of roadway leading to site is not included in that $11,000. That's where the hourly rate for the equipment comes in. Okay, if I said that in reverse order, I apologize. Does everybody understand that? Okay. All right. Tracy, you did, I see what you did. I got it. So, septic bed here. Ryan, your supervisor beside you may have to come up here and look at this stuff for me. I'm struggling. All right, this is the Bruin septic bid. Bruin septic installation bid. Twilight Farms LLC will supply all material and labor except rock. The Elliott County Fiscal Court will supply rock. Twilight LLC will install septic systems in accordance to the Elliott County Health Department specifications. Rock clause. If while installing septic system, rock is hit that requires jackhammering is necessary, there will be an additional cost for an excavator and jackhammer. Twilight's bid price is $5,880. Does that include the tanks, the plastic, whatever you need? Okay. Now, let's go to the road. Ruined property, brushing and road bid. Improve existing road on property which involves proper ditching, widen curve, improve approach into existing building, clean roadway past existing lot, install tile if needed. Tile shall be supplied by Elliott County Fiscal Court. Clear brush from existing roadway up the hill. This is more or less what the Isons are saying. 20 feet off of road, clear brush from existing structure, approximately 20 feet down the hill. Leave a tree barrier between existing road and existing structure. Clear brush and remove dirt from upper side of existing structure to the first ledge of the hill all the way around to the existing road that will be cleaned. Remove most brush, push over the bank, out of sight in a good area. Some brush around existing may be burned. Remove brush from a possible future site of parking or development. This was what I had mentioned to both he and the Isons, that we may look to level off a 1 acre or half acre spot where it looked like we probably could out there for potential a multi-use area with a fence that we can discuss later. Bid price, $11,450. So what you have here is the same bid, only it's different. The Isons have said that they will charge by the hour. And when I was asked, I told them by the hour might be better. That way, in case they did something, I wanted them to do more. I said, then give me an hourly rate. What Tracy has done is an all-inclusive bid. Septic, $5,880. The cleaning of the entire perimeter, $11,450. So if you just take the septic at itself, the Isons have said they will do the septic system per spec for $11,696, if I read this right. Tracy's saying he will do it for $5,880, if I read this right. Now, the extras is where the Isons are saying they would do it by the hour for their multi-terrain loader and their 5-ton excavator and general labor at $30 per hour. And Tracy has given us a total bid of $11,450. I don't know how to advise you on that of which one is going to be the better bid. What I would almost ask is to let us rebid that portion of this, so we can get on the same page. Let the Isons have a chance and let Tracy have a chance to come back, and let's put this together. So we're not speculating that Tracy is going to be in a better ballpark than the Isons would, because I have no idea how many hours of work and hours on a machine that it's going to take to make it look the way we need it to look. Does that make sense? I want them both to have a good opportunity. You all
Be bid the same way.
I don't want either one of them to walk out here going, well, you told me this and you told me that. Let's just rebid that. We have time for that. The septic system is first anyway, and I've got to get that plan to the state building inspector anyhow before we get started on that.
Do we go ahead and award the septic system?
I would like that. That way the winner of that can be getting their parts ordered or get in mind what they need to do.
Before cost goes up too, I was thinking that with
Yeah.
the bid. Make a motion we award it to Twilight Farms.
Second.
A motion by Brian and a second by Charles. Is there any further discussion? That said, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it. Tracy, I'm going to let you guys rebid that. I want it to be more fair. I don't think that's fair for them or you. I don't like that. You bid one way, they bid the other, and I want that to be together so you both have an equal shot.
Which way you want to bid?
Let's do it by the hour. And reason being is what happens, and I told this to the Ison men, I said, what happens when I come in here and I don't like what you've done, or I say you're not finished, and you've bid this for X amount of dollars? Then we have a disagreement on how much more you're going to do and what the cost will be there. Versus if I come to you and say, all right, let's agree on this, start working. A week later, I come back and look at it, or I'm going to look at it every day because I can't stay away from it. I'm going to come back and I'm going to say, you're going to say, all right, is this to your liking? I go, no. All right, that's fine. We're going to keep rolling, but you're going to keep paying. The hour's going to go up on the equipment, the hour's going to go up on me. So, does that sound fair?
If you would be using, same equipment, apples and apples, we're using a mini excavator and a skid steer. I bid it as a 40,000-pound excavator and a D4W.
And
So
with,
my hourly price is going to be higher than the mini excavator or the skid steer.
But he'll do it a lot quicker with the bigger equipment.
There you
too,
go.
So you're still not apples to apples.
I mean, it'll be, mine will be faster, I
Yeah,
can do so much more, but it's ever how y'all want to do it. You're really not, you're still not comparing apples to apples.
all right, then what if we,
Bid it by the job.
what if you fellas bid it by the job then? If we go back and I tell them to bid it by the job and you bid it by the job, is that fair?
I don't have no problem with it.
Okay.
I mean, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I didn't, but I do.
Different.
It makes sense.
Price.
Here's the bad part of that, he's already bid it by the job, he's laid his cards on the table.
Maybe he'll come back cheaper.
Let him bid it again, and turn in another bid.
That'd be the best thing to do, let him rebid it. If
Allow
he
Tracy to
wants
rebid
turn in
it.
the same price, that's up to him.
Just scratch the bids on that and start over, bid it by the project.
Okay. Except for the sewers traces.
Yeah.
All right.
He's got.
Can't you give them an idea of this area here?
Oh, I did. But in their defense, they even asked me, they said, how would you rather this be done, by the job or by the hour? And I said, here's what I'm thinking, whether Tracy got it or whether you got it, if something's not right, I want you to finish it. And I'm okay with that, but I want you to get paid to finish it.
Well, what I mean was, can't you give them a designated idea that they could compete? He could compete back with the same
That's
price
fine.
that he would come back
Yeah,
with.
I had
Plus-
essentially the same conversation with them as I did with Tracy, but I didn't mention hourly rate with Tracy.
You can still bid it by the job.
Yeah.
And then you can also say, give me an hourly rate for
Right.
your equipment if we have you to do
If
other
we
stuff.
want to
And then
extend
based
it.
on what size he's got or whatever, you're gonna pay that much an
If
hour.
we want to extend it.
That's another bid.
That's what your other bid is. His other bid is that. Okay.
Now, does that, just, like Brian said, is my bid, is that public now? I mean, because they will know.
It's on television.
Yeah, it's public.
It's public.
Well, it's public record anyway, whether it's on
Right.
television or not, it's
Well,
public.
yeah, that too, but I mean,
It was discussed whether, yeah, exactly.
You didn't bid an hourly rate, did you?
No.
See, if you designate a spot that they're gonna bid on, both of them should price that same spot. Plus, add on, that if work is extended, our hourly rates will be at
That's
this
right.
rate.
Well, then I've still got to go back to the Isons and tell them.
Yeah, be that.
That's the
give
right
them
thing
an
to do.
opportunity to rebid.
I didn't mean to mislead them, but I did say hourly. That come out of my mouth, and I don't want Tracy to lose a job because I said something to somebody else, and I don't want them to lose a job because I said what I said to them. And it's just, I
Because
want to
you-
make sure I keep it right.
Unless I'm mistaken here, you probably would have to have the extra work approved on top of that anyway,
That's
right?
correct,
Because
yeah.
we'd approved to pay $10,000 or $11,000 for his job to do, but then we'd also have to approve for them to work X amount of hours over, not to exceed X amount or whatever.
do we put it in writing, kind of what you need,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I think
That'd be a better
that way
way.
I hand them both the paper, they come back.
Yeah.
And Tracy, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm sorry, if I screwed that up, I blame nobody else but me for that I didn't handle it the way I should have. But
I will say, whoever gets the bid cleared, there needs to be some clearing in the back before the septic goes in.
okay,
Some of those trees along, whatever they got in back there behind.
yeah. Well, we've got time for that.
Yeah.
I've got some time for that. I've got a couple phone calls I've got to make before that happens anyway. All right, I apologize.
Motion to take a Quick recess.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yeah.
Go use the restroom. All right, we'll reconvene. We're still on the Bruin property with some bids. On the electrical,
Need a motion to start back?
sure.
Make a motion to resume the meeting.
Second.
Motion by Brian, second by Michael. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Let's roll. I have one electrical bid for that facility. And you've got set a new 25-foot power pole, 200 amp service, install ground system, provide receptacles on pole for temp power, 200 amp panel with underground feed to the building inside, provide breakers for all circuits and spaces, 25 receptacles for general use, 15 switch receptacles for lighting to allow for easy plug and play changes in lighting. 8 outside LED security lights, 25 8-foot LEDs on the ceiling and in the walls, 220 volt outlet for window AC unit, 120 volt circuit for instant hot water heater. Any additions to this scope will be cost plus labor. Coordinate with the other crews for fast moving job. Supply all materials, labor, and inspections for a complete turnkey electrical package. Cost is $15,500 with half down before work begins. That's Jerry Jenkins. That is the only bid I received for electrical. Getting bids is tough. It's a lot of follow-up phone calls and a lot of sometimes just emails and some other communication.
Have we talked about possibly even doing solar?
Solar, that sits against a hill.
I was thinking that's a fairly bad spot.
Yeah, that's not really our fan, or a good plan if they have solar there.
I'll make a motion to approve the electrical bid.
Second.
The motion by Brian was second by Michael. Any discussion? Let's sit all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Ayes have it, thank you. Atkins and Sons Construction put in a bid for general construction and concrete on this property and roofing. Okay, new metal roof, vinyl siding, windows, doors, stud-up walls, installation, metal walls, bathroom for wash bay addition, concrete sidewalk. Material, $28,202.82, labor, $26,600, total of $54,802.82. So basically, he's gonna fur out the walls, he's gonna insulate it, he's gonna put us metal on the inside, metal on the outside. He's gonna do a 10 by 16 addition on the back with a concrete floor, a toilet, a dog wash station, an instant-on hot water heater is the electrician. And then he's gonna do a concrete sidewalk around the back of the building. That's what his bid was for.
That's the only bid?
That is the only bid I received for general construction.
And how do you feel about the price?
And I feel it's high. I'm just seeing this. I didn't.
We don't have to accept that.
You don't have to, but getting a bid is tough.
I know.
There's certain contractors in this area that jump all over, and there's certain contractors that if you're working right now, you're really busy. There's work waiting, and this gentleman, when I spoke to him, he said that he was backed up 4 months, but he would try to work us in based on when we could get. Of course, you got your septic, you've got your excavation, you've got your electric, and all this kind of has to work in together. So it's more than I wanted to spend. I'm a little.
Make a motion, we table that bid.
Yeah, I thought the building was in better shape than that.
Well, the building's a shell.
It's a hole.
Okay.
It's not been furred out. You just have vinyl on sheeting. In the inside, there's nothing.
Okay.
Just your studs. So you would have to fur it out to put your insulation up. You've got to do your overhead. It's just.
They'll do everything.
You
The
name
reason
it.
for an out, it's just, they turn the flat white, the only 1.5 inches.
Charles met me there one day. We took a look at it. He saw it firsthand. We walked around. Could we afford this? Yes, we could afford this, but it's if we go back through the process again, I'm gonna have to ask somebody else to come up there and hope that they will. Somebody of quality workmanship that could come. And I only try to ask folks that I know are insured, they have a good reputation, I know they have the best interest of their customer in mind.
Time wise, how quick are we on time wise?
Well, I'm gonna have to get, I'm gonna have to go to the building inspector, and we'll have to do the septic. We'll have to draw out a plan, and I told this to him, I said, if we accept your bid, you will need to draw a plan out, and it have to be inspected, it have to be approved by the inspector. Not a problem, that wasn't an issue. If we go back, then I'm starting, we'll have to run it in the paper again, and we're kind of starting from scratch, so it may be another month.
Well, from what little bit I know, I don't know how we can not proceed with this. Time-wise, I think we need this up running as soon as possible.
Yeah, last year.
I'm sorry, but
And if you table this, it kind of throws a screw to everything else too.
it's gonna push it on down the road.
I'm running with other things that I've got to now wait on. Instead of bringing them together at that point and say, okay, guys, I need you all to start working together. I'm kind of my own GC doing this, which this will be one of the last jobs I'm ever my own GC. When we build the bathroom up here, I'm gonna ask you all, please allow me to hire a GC, and I've already got some good quality names in mind. But if it's me, we go ahead and we do it. But it's not me, it's you. You all tell me what to do.
Well, I know Dewey made that motion, but from our discussion earlier in the past and the way that the times are progressing from conversations I've had with some individuals and some others that are coming along, I can see this as being in a dire need to have this. I might be wrong in that. You can correct me if
No, I'm
I'm
not.
wrong in that, but
You're right.
I think
We
the
need-
potential is, could be more than the extra charge that might be or might not be added on to that. So if he's a good quality contractor, I don't know why we wouldn't go ahead and proceed with this. His money is gonna cost too much.
I'm just worried about the expense. You know, we done put what we did, investment in the property and the building, now we got, you know, the sewer and the clearing and the road, you know, we just keep stacking it on before we know it, we're gonna be 200,000 deep, 250.
There's something else I want to put on this property, but we're going to go through that.
I mean, I think you talked about that.
Yeah, we'll discuss that at a later time, or I'll discuss it with each one of you individually, but I'm not ready because the key component of that, he doesn't. We have not had that conversation with him yet, so I want to have that conversation with him as well, and he being another elected official, so. If you approve this, it allows me to get this started, then I can put back out the excavation and the, whatever else would go with the excavation, get that back in, and then we get a road in there. And again, we're supplying the rock to the road, so we've got the availability to get the rock.
Do y'all think this is our best option?
Well, I think if you postpone this anymore, you're gonna have to go through the same procedures. It's gonna be more time added to this. I don't think that this is a thing that we really need to be waiting to get the right price to do just because we only got the one bid. Everything's higher today than it
I
was
understand
in the
that.
past.
You know, at the end of the
We may
day, we're
want-
stewards for the taxpayers' dollar.
We may wind up having other issues because of the land.
Exactly.
There are other counties that are suffering other issues right
Yes.
now.
We need to get this going.
I mean, if you want to withdraw that, I'll make a motion, we proceed with that.
I withdraw my motion.
I'll make the motion, we proceed with the bid then.
I'll
Second.
second.
All right. Motion by Charles, a second by Dewey. Is there any further discussion in this?
Can you dig the money out of a crack somewhere or another?
The treasurer don't like it, but we've got it. We'll get it. Any further discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you all. I'll get working on that end of it.
Hey, Dewey,
Yeah.
we'll have a talk here when it's over. I'll tell you what I'm going to.
Number 15, approved bids for yearly supplies and maintenance. This is your crushed stone and your, all that good stuff. We'll lay that over here. So let's come to this.
Hey, Chris.
Tell you. Oh, you already know about it? Oh, you did? You didn't give it my name. I know, but I didn't even know it.
So we'll start out with, I've got,
I mean, the name that where it went. That's where mine went.
This looks like
Where
blacktop.
it's supposed to be.
so I've got a sealed bid here from BTI Contracting in Catlettsburg.
Who is it?
BTI Contracting in Catlettsburg.
And then it clicked. Yeah, yeah.
All right, so we are pleased to quoting price for hot mix asphalt, price per ton in place. All material, labor, and equipment furnished. Class A, I'm sorry, so I'll just read it in terms that you all understand. Surface asphalt, $116.50 a ton. Binder, $113.73 a ton.
How much?
$113.73. Base, $108.95. And here's the kicker. They've got a tack charge on here at $2.50 per gallon of tack. That's a new one on me. So that would be, that's a compilation that I've never had. I don't know how many gallon of tack it takes to put a mile of asphalt on the ground. That's something I don't know. So, but keep that in mind. I'll open this one. This may be just something different. Okay, we'll save this one. We'll save this one. This is Mountains here. Mountain. Next place. All right, Mountain is still throwing out that we need to buy the 100-ton minimum, and that's what Hinkle did. In order to get this price, you need to buy. So surface, $121.25. Binder, $116.20. And base $107.50. And again, there's a $30 per ton surcharge on patching less than 26 tons per location. All right.
No tack charge?
No tack.
No, I've never seen you guys do a tack charge.
Everything's incidental to structural price.
Okay, it's not on here. It's the same thing I saw last year.
Everything's included.
They do have the KAPI, so does this other bid, which means it's an adjustment through the stock market of trading of oil. Is that right?
It's a Kentucky market.
Okay.
So it's a Kentucky number based off the asphalt prices, the liquid prices in Kentucky.
Which is,
it's an industry standard anybody gets your bids.
that is also here on their bid as well. It's the same terminology, actually. 5%, $639.29 the current bid month, KAPI 60. It's the same, they're exactly the same in that aspect.
And it's something that we don't make up, everybody across the industry follows. You know what I mean? They'll change the same.
Okay. So, that, I'm gonna be honest here, I don't know what 250 a gallon tack, I've never dealt with that. That concerns me. I don't know where we're going there. I've always dealt with Hinkle, or I've dealt with Mountain, and now they're one company, but I've never had them throw an extra tack charge on it. Now, when we paved our own roads for one fall, before I took office, they had a tack truck, which we sold it a couple months ago. I don't even know what they gave for tack then whenever they went and got it in that old 83 model Ford or whatever it was. So, I don't know the tack charge, but you're on the surface, you're $5 on the, well, $4.75. And binder,
$247.
yeah, and then you're actually, I think, cheaper on the base.
Like you go mountain, you can't can't figure out what that tack is anyway. I mean.
But that's, the tack concerns me because I don't know what I
Yeah, I
don't.
agree. I'll
Make
make
a motion to go to the mountain.
Second.
Got a motion by Dewey, the second by Chris. Is there any discussion? That said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Okay, now let's talk about spot buying. Mountain in their bid also has, this is hot mix asphalt picked up, over an Olive Hill. And is it still the same, Ryan? We need to make sure that you guys are producing.
So, yeah, I actually had a meeting with Steve Ross, on the vice president of Eagle. We discussed this earlier today, so Eagle was willing to honor our price anytime at the Cave Run plant also. So if you run into an issue where all field's closed, we'd be more than happy to match that price or cheaper, he said, at the Cave Run plant.
And is the cave, let's just lay it out. American Asphalt has a bid here too, and that's the guys over in Canova that we've been using. I've only used them once this year because we're just so busy doing other things, but as the summer goes, we're going to be running that 4-ton unit. Are they producing just like over here? Could I be over there at 7:30 in the morning and could I fill that hopper up?
Yes, yes. Any of our locations, but for your convenience, we're giving you examples of Olive Hill and Cave Run because they're your two closest locations.
Okay.
But we'll honor that out of any of our locations, period.
All right. Well, let's look at apples to apples here on the price. Surface, and this is us going and getting it. At the American Asphalt plant over in Canova, its surface is $84.50. What do you run out of that plant anyway? Do you have something that you do just for those that pull in there and want to, or do you have options? Let's say Debbie Hill over here at 519, because that's closest. I can be over there. It's 22 miles, I think, or 23 miles over there. If I wanted to run over there, what is available to us at any given time?
That is going to vary a little bit from day to day. If you're just picking up 4 ton,
Yeah.
you know, we're not going to be willing to switch to regular binder mix. But I assume that you're going to pick up a 38D probably any time you're filling that box.
Yeah.
That's just a general regular use surface.
Which is fine with us.
So, you know, both plants should have that available in there to run.
All right, the
If you
38.
want something specialty,
No.
it's going to be a little difficult to get away.
No.
No.
No, I'm very fortunate that I live in a county where people are just happy to see the black stuff.
Yeah.
They don't want finer this or bigger that.
Yeah.
Not yet.
I'm sure in your little bag.
Watch yourself, Myron.
They're happy to see that orange contraption in the orange suits come up behind it with the shovel. So they're,
Well, the potholes, they so bad, that's all they care about.
yeah, all right. So you guys are at $79 a ton for base. You're at $84.75 for binder. You're at $89 for surface. Base with American Asphalt is at $76.95 for base, $81.73 for binder, and $84.50 for surface. And here's where I'm at with that. If I can go to West Liberty and back here, that is an hour and 10 minutes. If you're ready to roll the way they are at American Asphalt. Now, I've had times at American Asphalt where we had to wait an hour. So I understand that. I get it. West Virginia DOT trucks are in our way and we're in theirs because they're more important than I am and we have to yield to them. But if I can go to Debbie Hill, I can be to Debbie Hill and back here on 519 an hour and 10 minutes. And that's pulling in, getting it, doing my ticket, signing it, getting out there and getting back here. Minimum, it is 50 minutes minimum, and it's usually over an hour to get to Canova. Waiting in line, it's usually, the quickest I've ever been in there was immediate, but the longest I waited was, we waited over an hour. The first time this year I went, which is one time, we waited over an hour, and the inmates were sitting here with their twiddling their thumbs. So obviously expediency is big to me. I wanted fuel consumption.
Saving fuel.
I'm saving on fuel going to 519. That's huge to me if we could go to, and that, you and I talked about this last year. Ideally, we would go to 519. That would be our go, especially if we're on Charles, his end of the county.
Or we need a bunch over there. Stay with Bud.
Now, if we're out on Brian's end of the county, well, if we're in Michael's, probably
Ours too,
Chris's, but now when we get out in your country, Olive Hill's probably closer. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just saying that expediency. I want to be able to get in there and get out, but I understand if we have to wait an hour, we have to get in line just like everybody else. That's fine. But that means a lot to me if we would be able to run over to 519 and jump in line and get it and just get on back. It's flat land too. There's not a lot of hills.
The transportation time and the fuel savings will offset what little bit difference they are in the price.
I was going to say, it should.
That excites me. And I know I'm easily excited, I guess.
Make a motion to go with, Mountain.
I'll say.
The motion by Dewey, the second by Chris. Any further discussion? That said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Ryan, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yep, thank you.
All right, what's next? Let's see, we've got, gravel. Let's see what else, there's hall. That's shot rock, that's pipe, that's road maintenance. Okay, so gravel and hot, big stone, so. Pull out a wet one here. All right, this one is Mountain Materials Valley Quarry. All right, and so you're looking at on the ton, what we would use mostly, 57s, $14.50 a ton. 8s and 467s, we do use 8s, but very minimally, $21 a ton. Wow, that's getting high. 4s and 2s, which we use a lot of 4s, $13.25 a ton. DGA is $13 a ton. Shot rock is $16.50, as are class 3s. And be honest with you, once we get past class 2s, we usually just go to shot rock. Class 2s are $14.25. And crusher run is $9.50. And this is at the, Valley Quarry.
Crusher run was how much, Myron?
Crusher run is $9.50.
Okay.
Now you've got one from the Brushy Quarry.
Why do the same company do?
Well, that was a question y'all asked me last year, I actually not answering that, so we're good, we accepted both bids, you get whatever material. You know, if you wanna say crusher runs cheaper here, I'll run over there and get it. We're fine with that, if you wanna mix match those however you want. We price it accordingly to the way we're crushing the rock.
Okay.
So, if you
Might be running
if you buy one material from
Crushing,
crushing,
one
one
from
from valley, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
The problem we ran into with that in the past was the state knows that's why we had to bid, we had to pick and choose one.
We've discussed that, and as far as we're concerned, I think you're allowed to award multiple bids and choose from one. We have several counties doing that. It's sending both bids.
I've seen other judge executives and other fiscal courts actually say we approve both.
Yes.
That's what we had done in the past, and I've been told we couldn't. So, that idea helps both ways.
It's above my pay grade, probably, but as far as we're
I was
concerned.
told that we
Right.
couldn't accept both
Johnny
bids.
nodded his head, we can.
Okay. I just remember what had been told in the past.
You were told, Crystal, that you can.
Yes.
Can we get a ruling on that, Johnny? Can we get an opinion of, would you seek it out? So in case tonight they say we'll accept both bids pending.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so
Make it a lot easier on us when we do that.
we'll move to Brushy Quarry, 57s, $13 a ton. 8s and 467s, 19.50 a ton. 4s and 2s, 11.75. Well, it's easy where it would go. DGA, $11.50. Shot Rock in Class 3s, $15. Class 2s, $12.75. Crusher run $8.
They're cheaper across the board.
Yeah. So, you guys, you know what I'm gonna say. I would like, pending Johnny's opinion, accept both bids. If in fact that Johnny gets an opinion that's adverse to what we think, then we would obviously want to go with the Brushy Quarry.
Make a motion, we accept both bids.
Pending Johnny's.
Pending Johnny's
opinion.
investigation.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion by Dewey with a second by Darren. Any discussion there? Just want to get it right. All in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. All right, what do we got?
It'd make good sense because they may be out of something and you can't
It's
get
happened
it.
before.
And then you could.
It doesn't happen a lot, but
That's what we used to do. Now, like I said, we've been told from the state that we wasn't allowed to do it. That's why you bid it. You're not allowed to do that. But yeah, that's what we done to the other one before. You know, only common sense. We can.
That's quite a surprise.
here's a curveball that I missed on. And again, I'm opening these as we go, but I missed on this one, Howard Stone. And all they bid on was Shot Rock. And it's $12 a ton. So
Can't they be included into that same?
I would think so, but all they provide is Shot Rock. So you would probably need to make a separate motion to add that in too.
Make a motion to accept, you say Howard Stone?
Howard Stone.
Into that all-inclusive bid.
Second. Good, okay? Okay. So I got a motion by Dewey, second by Michael. Is there
Did you
any
say it was
discussion there?
$12 for
$12
shot?
a ton. Yeah. And I'm sorry about that. All in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Thank you all. Hauling, let me make sure, let me get this, I think we're getting, let me make sure I have no other haulers. Fuel, Creeper L, Trinity. Okay. Billy Skaggs bid $6.50 a ton to haul gravel to the county rock yard.
Gonna
That's the
assume
same bid he had last year.
motion to accept.
Second.
Got a motion by Charles, a second
He's the
by
only one
Chris.
that's
Any
ever bid.
discussion?
That's,
Has that been the exact same bid ever since Lee?
He
No,
might
he's
have taken
come
it
up
up
with
$1 since
I
COVID.
don't say, I remember when we did it for $5,
Yeah, he's up.
but I don't know how he does it that cheap.
I don't even,
Here's Rich Ornstein. Rich says if you advertise that you reserve the right to accept one or more, it all comes down to the ad. What's your ad? Specifically, in there that you can accept one or more.
Sealed bids will be open during a special meeting held on May 23rd. If you would like any additional information concerning, oh wait, Elliott County Fiscal Court reserves the right to accept or reject any or all sealed bids.
Ka-ching.
Thanks, Rick.
That's great.
Ka-ching.
Rich is handy.
Cheyenne, thank you. Thank you, Rich. Okay, so we need to, did we vote on Billy Skaggs? I got a motion in a second, but did we vote?
No, we didn't vote.
we ain't voting.
Okay, have you got the motion in second? Yeah. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, okay,
Just going forward, just as long as.
thank you. Pipe bid, I only received one, if I'm looking correctly here.
Kentucky Underground.
I'm probably so.
Charlie wants,
We said as long as it's advertised it was.
my phone sent to stay with you.
He's the only person that's ever bid it, I think. Charles.
So we had several. And I'll go ahead and read it out. Price per foot, plastic. Okay, so he did,
Thank you, Ryan.
happy birthday, Ryan.
Happy birthday, Ryan.
Thank you, young lady. So 15 feet on plastic, $10.50 a foot. 18 feet, I don't want to outrun you here, but it's only bid, is $14.60 a foot. 24 inch. Huh?
What was the first one?
15 inch was $10.50 a foot. 18 inch is $14.60. 24 inch is $24.50. Since there's another pipe bid. Fuel, crib rail, pipe bid.
Who was the first one here?
Huh?
Kentucky Underground.
This is Kentucky Supply or Kentucky Underground.
Okay.
Thank you, Cheyenne. With 30 inch, $35 a foot on 30 inch. 36 inch, $45 a foot. And 48 inch, $72.43. All right, he also has galvanized on here, but we very seldom ever buy galvanized. All right, this is from Utility Solutions, which is in Farmers on 60 between Moorhead and 801. So 15 inch plastic is $17.48. 18 inch is $24.40. 24 inch is $41.64.
Big difference there, I think.
30 inch, $62.09. 36 inch, $71.08. And 48 inch is $118.82 a foot.
Make a motion, we give it to Kentucky Underground.
Second.
Motion by Brian with a second by Dewey. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, Cheyenne. All right, fuel bid. Cheyenne, am I right? We only received one fuel bid? Okay. BPI, that's John W. Clark Oil. Ultra low sulfur, 20 cents above cost. 87 octane, 20 cents above cost. 2 years ago, they were 12 cents above cost. Last year, they went to 15 cents above cost. This year, they've gone to 20 cents above cost. Am I surprised? Not really, because fuel's gone up. But I'll tell you the same thing I told you last year and year before. As somebody that was in this business a long time, we're still saving, by and large, anywhere from a quarter to sometimes 37, 38 cents a gallon versus buying it at the pump, at what you consider the pump, swiping a card and fueling and going. So, and this is our only bid, so.
How many gallons of fuel you buy a year, ma'am?
Two fills a month. Month of, 1.5 fills a month. Right?
Is it 900 gallon?
Yeah. So it'd be total times 12. 32,400 gallon.
That's a whole lot of money to say, you start talking.
At 30 cents.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot of money.
I've seen it. The same morning that the gentleman has handed me the bill of lading from the gray truck that you see John Clark run through Elliott County, I've come through town and I've had it in my hand and I went, it's 30 cents. What we pay versus what is on the street. So, but yeah, you're looking at 33,000 gallons a year.
Make a motion to approve that bid.
I'll second.
Motion by Brian, a second by Charles. Was that you, Charles? That said
Close
that? What was it? I heard Chris, but I thought you said it first.
Somebody over there said it first.
Was it you, Michael? I'm sorry,
I
Michael.
would have seconded though anyway.
Well, I'm sorry.
That didn't count.
We're all about cheap, it don't matter.
My bad, y'all. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Okay. This is a bid for maintenance, routine maintenance on our HVAC system. This is, I'm thinking it includes the library, the courthouse, the senior center, Johnny's office, and that's it, right? I don't think Laurel Gorge is on there. I don't think Laurel Gorge is on there. I think it's Elliott County Library, Elliott County Courthouse, Elliott County Senior Citizen Facility, and the County Attorney's Office. So we need to go change the filters out down to Lorville. $654 per quarter with a total of $2,616, and that's Trinity HVAC. And if I'm not mistaken, Trinity is Toby Rowe. That's the only one I've got on there.
Motion to accept.
Motion by Dewey with second by Darren. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's have it. Crib and rail. This is kind of the, Jim, isn't this kind of the same path we went last year?
Yep.
Okay. All right, that's Pettit Wood Products. I don't have his last year's bill in front of me to compare. Jim, maybe your memory's better than mine. Drilling placement of T-rails, $15 a foot. This being the only one. Placement of cribbing is $8.50 a foot. Core drilling, $14 a foot. That's cheap.
I think it's about the same as it was last year.
Yeah. There's people getting $800 a hole on this core drilling stuff. $800 or $900, that company out of Letcher County. Isn't that what Laurel?
Yeah, they were almost $1,000 just to drill.
Yeah. Geotech fabric is $7 a yard. Backfill excavation, $30 a yard. Rock emplacement, $30 a yard. That's it.
Pre-COVID, those was way down with this other thing is came with.
That's our only bid, and that's for crib and rail, and I've already got jobs ready to go, ready to put in front of you for approval for next fiscal year.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Chris, a second by Dewey. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Dewey, we've got a few roads I'm gonna talk to you about. Trying to put together some ideas there for crib and rail on a couple spots you've got, actually 3 or 4. Just wanna make sure we're doing right. And where was I today? Oh, Wallaho, Darren. We're crib and railing on Wallaho right now, and I found more on Wallaho we're gonna have to do. All right, so this one is road maintenance bid. This is kind of the same that we put out last year that Tracy bid on. So a single axle dump truck is $70 an hour. Tandem axle is $80 an hour. A triaxle would be $90 an hour. A Case 160D excavator is $128 an hour, a minimum of 6 hours. That's the 40,000 pound machine. To move that excavator in is $800. The 60 mini excavator has got the 13,000 pound machine, which you all probably saw all over the county pulling ditches. It's $79 an hour with a minimum of 8. The Cabelco, which is a lot like that one, is $74 an hour. It's just a hair smaller. He's got a D4 dozer for $110 an hour, a D5 dozer with $125 an hour. If we ever needed his service for a 4x4 tractor with a side boom mower, is $100 an hour. 322 skid steer, $70 an hour, multiple attachments available for that. Bush hog, if we ever needed a bush hog, $45 an hour. Post auger, $25 an hour. Mulching head, $45 an hour. And a jackhammer, which I've already got roads about ready. Tracy, I need you to hammer up. $79 an hour. All these are a minimum of 8 hours unless otherwise noted. The dozer is a minimum of 6, and so is the large excavator. The rest of them are a minimum of 8 hours. That's the only bid I've got.
Second.
Motion by Michael, a second by Brian. Is there any further discussion? Let's say it all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'll tell you that we have saved our roads in a lot of ways by having that little excavator run around and dip out ditches. And it's been phenomenal. It's
Yeah.
actually saved us money.
Yeah, it's helped.
It's saved us tile. Tracy, good job working for us. We appreciate you doing that.
Thank you, Tracy.
I think that's all. Treasurer or Shana, do you think I'm missing something?
It's the propane,
That's
but
one
we
Eric.
haven't given it, and I contacted Eric Propane and Zero Gas, and Rick's didn't get back with me, but I will ask and bring them to the desk.
Okay. If we need to make a phone call to gouge somebody a little bit, I'm happy to do it.
All the last several years, Eric's have been cheaper than anybody.
By a long shot.
Yeah. Okay, discuss approved bids for new HVAC unit in the Elliott County Public Library. We've got one that's completely shot and we've robbed parts off of it to put them in another one to keep it up and running until next fiscal year where I can ask you all to replace it. So don't be surprised in July when I ask you to do this again. But I have 2 bids for a 7.5 ton split heat pump, 10-year warranty on labor. This bid is for $16,300. And I have a bid for the same 7.5 ton heat pump for $12,450.
Who's the 2 companies?
Precision Heating and Cooling out of Olive Hill is the $16,300, and Trinity HVAC for the $12,450.
Okay.
We had 3 units down up there the other day before, and the 4th wasn't turned on. And I went up there, Toby was nice enough to come up there and rob parts off the one that was busted to get the other one limping along. He said, "You really need both these replaced." And I said, "How about we do one, you give me a bid on one in this month, and then give me a bid on another in July." And he went, "It's whatever you want to do."
Make a motion to go with Trinity.
Motion by Dewey, a second by Darren. Is there any further discussion? That said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those units are 21 years old that he's replacing. They're trains from 2002, made in America. The new ones may not be made in America. All right. Number 17, discuss approve the purchase of flooring from library for the Christian Center in addition from Great American Floors. So here's what happened. We flooded the night of Christmas night into the 26th. We've gone through the insurance process. They approved us to get the flooring that we chose. I asked the library board to approve the flooring that they wanted. The library board approved said flooring. When the flooring come in, they didn't want it. They said it's too modern. Great American Floors says if we take it back, it's $1,000. I don't want to pay $1,000. So what I said was this: what if you just go ahead and pay for the flooring in that insurance deal? So the insurance is going to pay that $31,000 and change that you all approved last month. The insurance is going to pay that. What I said was, we'll take the flooring that you don't want, which is this. I'll add 400 square foot to it. We'll put this in the Christian Center across the street because that carpet has had to lick. Then you all got one more shot to get the flooring that you want. And so they picked out a black marble style, same as this, only black marble style that they said they would run with. So I'm asking you all to approve to buy the black marble style for the library. So we're not changing invoices. Buy the black marble style for the library. Take this 1,100 square feet of this, add 400 square feet to it, and let's put this over here in the Christian Center across the street. Rip the carpet up. The inmates will rip the carpet up. The charge for this, the extra 400 square feet of this is for the glue. I'll get somebody to show the inmates how to glue it down. If you all don't want to hire somebody to put it down, and we'll get the inmates to put this down in the building across the street. That's what I'm asking. Because the library board didn't like this when it came. They liked it, but they said it was too rustic. They didn't want this in a library. And there's 1,100 square feet of it, and instead of paying eating $1,000 to send it back, I said, well, why don't the fiscal court just buy it? You all get what you want. We'll pay a little extra on top of that for what will fit in here, which is 1,500 square feet. So another 400 square feet. And we're not eating $1,000 on restocking fee. Or the library board's not, which they may come to us to ask us for $1,000. I don't know. Does that make sense? But I did bring my sample. But it's actually that, it's 4-foot strips. This is what would go across the street to Christian Center. So on this that I'm asking to pay for is the night tile, midnight black. This is what they've chosen now, the second choice. So we would pay this bill, but they would get the black tile, the night tile. We would get this tile. Then I added 400 square feet on top of that, which would come out to 420, which however that works out in the boxes. And then 4 gallon of glue. Comes out to $6,793. Or we deal with the same carpet we've got over here in this building, and we pay $1,000 to send that back and then get what they want, which is we'll have to call the insurance company and have the adjuster run back through that process. It's up to you all, but this was my thought, and I told them I would pitch it to you and see what you said.
It's $6,000 for 400 feet?
It's $6,000 for 1,600 feet, almost 1,600.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah. And 4 gallon of glue, adhesive.
But you originally wasn't going to replace the carpet right now.
No, originally I was not, but since they wasn't happy and he was going to charge them $1,000 to switch it out, I went, wait a minute. What if I just buy it, what the fiscal court agrees to buy it, and we put it in this double wide over here? We're going to need something over eventually anyway because that carpet is not in great shape.
They choose that initially and they just didn't like it after that.
They said when it, the recipe in the cookbook didn't match what come out of the oven.
That's a beautiful aged rosewood.
I agree, it's too rustic for the library.
What are they talking about, too rustic for the library? I don't know what that means.
Well,
It looks too, hey, it looks too country and everything.
This is Elliott County, honey, it's just fine.
What Jennifer is saying is exactly what they said to me. It's pretty, they don't have a problem with it, they have a problem with it in that building up there.
I don't want to walk in that library and see tree limb on the floor. I'd rather see the marble or the nice stuff.
I don't think I've ever walked in there
You
and
know,
thought such a thing.
that looks like a cabin. That's something you'd.
I just don't think we were at the point to spend that.
What was it saying, Kim? I make a motion, we do what,
Who picked
Larry
that out
Elliott
to start
That's what I
with?
said,
Who picked that out to start with?
The board,
And then now they don't want it.
correct.
Well, why did they pick it out to start with?
Yeah,
it looked very
That's my
rustic,
question.
didn't it?
I like Malin's terminology.
The picture in the cookbook didn't match what come out of the oven. To reference an old George Carlin joke.
I would let them either put it down or they can pay the $1,000, is my thought. That's just me personally.
You pick it and you get it and then you don't like it. I mean,
Well, they can send it back, but it's $1,000.
well, they can keep it too, can't they?
Yes.
That's what I'm
But
thinking.
they don't want it in the library because it's too
But
rustic.
they picked it.
Yeah.
But once it come in, it's not what they thought they picked.
Well, I understand that, but we're spending more money to
Appease.
yes,
A lot more.
a lot more.
Or it's $1,000 to switch it out. Somebody will have to pay that bill. I don't know if that'd be the library or if they would ask us to pay up. I didn't see this coming or I would have handled this differently. I just said, hey, you ladies and gentlemen on that board, pick what you want because you live here, I don't. You all manage the affairs of the library. You're the board. And when it come in, it was, you need to come up here. We don't like this. Okay, we'll figure something out.
Pieces everywhere, huh?
But you're still gonna have to put flooring in the.
Well, I don't have to, but we're gonna have to glue down.
That could come down the road though, and probably not cost us almost $7,000.
Well, it's $67.93, and that would be flooring for the entire facility over there. At some point, if we keep that building, there's gonna have to be a floor put in it. A floor cover, whether it's carpet or whether it's something.
Right, but
I don't like the fact that we're spending an extra $6,700 right now just because somebody don't like what was ordered. That, I mean, that's just me,
No, I don't like it neither.
but, I mean.
I understand that at least we got a solution for it. If we didn't have a solution for it, they'd have to eat it.
Well, that was me thinking, how do I make this work? How do I not eat $1,000 and maybe help the library too? And help the court? Because once it plays out over there, if we keep that double wide, we don't build a stick building, we potentially have renters who have already contacted me about going in there. But now that may be another year down the road, and I told the individual that reached out to me, and that individual was very understanding. But they're wanting to come to Sandy Hook, and it's a promising entity that they're representing. But it's up to you all. That was my real quick, how do we make this work and maybe we all benefit from it without $1,000.
My motion dead.
Huh?
My motion dead.
I would say at this point, yeah.
Motion to, I guess, what is that, like a alignment?
This?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it's a rubber, got a rubber bottom and the adhesive goes here.
To take the library's original order, move it down here, and reorder for the library.
Okay. And I've got a second. Any discussion? I've put my cards out there. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
No.
Hey,
All right, I'll make the phone call and I'll probably, all right, with that, and I know we're in a special meeting. Who pays the $1,000?
who's sending it back?
The library board would be sending it back.
They got $1,000 send it back?
I don't know.
Maybe it has to.
What was the vote count there?
3-3.
I mean, it looks like, that doesn't look like Rosewood to me. I didn't see the catalog.
The vote was, Michael, did you vote for or against?
I vote against.
So it's 4-2.
Oh, 4-2, sorry. Sorry, Mike.
I thought I
Didn't
saw
hear
that right.
Looks like the county would have to try to work with that. Because all they gotta do is say, this is not what we ordered, this is not what we expected.
Okay. Well,
If it's not what they ordered, then Great American Flooring should have to take it back. They shouldn't expect us to eat the $1,000.
it is exactly what they ordered.
Well, if it's exactly what they ordered, then in my opinion, they should take it rather than us having to spend extra tax dollars just to appease them.
Well, they didn't come up with that plan. It was me trying to help both sides.
But they said they was gonna send it back,
Well, they said it was gonna cost $1,000 to send it back, and they
which
were
means they was gonna send it back.
very possible. Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay, number 18, discuss approved contract with St. Clair regarding the food pantry. And I need the county attorney in here.
We just skip 19 for
We'll go to 19 and we'll come back to 18. Number 19, discuss approved bids on Bowtie Road Bridge. The only bid I received on the Bowtie Road Bridge, which is a 3-foot widening, and this is with us supplying the steel, is $66.90 from Twin Hills Contracting, and that's with Elliott County Fiscal Court supplying the beams, the steel beams. The labor, the concrete, the rods or whatever, what's that called, the iron, the rebar, all of that is being brought in by Twin Hills, but they're charging us, and we're gonna go after 80-20 money on this, by the way. That's what we're gonna ask for, is 80-20 on the steel and 80-20 on Twin Hills contract.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Michael, a second by, who said that, Dewey or Brian? Brian, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, number 20, approved to take bids on FEMA projects 4711. Jim, you want to talk about that a second?
The two that we have left in there
in the Creek.
Rock in the Creek, but, right after you pass Roger Gill's, it's approximately about 160 feet up through there, 4 or 5 foot deep. It's washed out all out, it's gonna take part of the road out and fix it, so. I did have them look at that when they came for preliminary damage assessment. So like I said, they'll be here about the second week of June. I'd really like to have it fixed, but not be here. And that way the process just rolls over. Make it quick on reimbursement. That's the only two major projects that we have left as far as that disaster.
Motion to approve to take bids for FEMA.
Second.
Motion by Charles, second by Chris. Any discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Any opposed? Number 21, right, yes. 21, approve the withdrawal commitment with FIVCO and hire Fahy as the admin for the AML grant. There has been some employee shakeup at FIVCO. I say this out of respect. I don't mean to disrespect anybody that may watch this episode or watch this fiscal court meeting. But there's been some shakeup with employment. They have a few dozen grants out there right now, and essentially they've got very minimal on-staff grant writers at this point. And the conversation that I had with Kelly Ward, I've said this multiple times. I don't want this screwed up. I want my EOC built. I want it to go as expedient as possible. This grant is still sitting in DC and is going through the vetting process. We had it checked out last week to see where it was. And it could sit there for another 6 months in the vetting process. And there are a lot of channels that has to happen. When I spoke to Pam Johnson, Vice President of Operations of Fahy, she said we have plenty of time to allow this switchover. We've not signed a letter of contract with FIVCO. So this is more or less, I'm asking you to let me out of a gentleman's handshake. And let's go with Fahy, and let's let them run this the way that they've run our food pantry, where they handle it every step of the way, and she gets a phone call every time there's a hiccup, and I get to send an email or to look at something every time that there's a question, and Jim can see it too, and let's go the direction of Fahy and walk away from FIVCO in this particular grant. I'm not trying to, FIVCO would receive the $50,000. Fahy would get the $50,000, which is the grant writer administration's fee that either one of them would take in. FIVCO was obviously, and this was my fear when this began, that there might be an employee shakeup, and with Eric Patton leaving, he started this. Eric Patton, effective June 1, is an employee of the Greenup County Fiscal Court. He will then work for Greenup County. He will no longer be working for FIVCO. There's no promises after June 1 where this grant would go handed to somebody else. Also, there was some emails that we saw. Jim and I both were privileged enough to see these emails where someone admitted they had no clue. That's almost a quote of what they were doing. So someone would need to hold their hand in the Ambler area. And that didn't sit well with me, because this is a $4.6 million EOC, and I want it done right. And I want it done at one time.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Motion by Dewey, the second. Who made that second?
I did.
Chris. Any further discussion?
How will this affect us with FIVCO in the future?
None whatsoever. They're already working on other grants for us, but they're smaller.
Okay.
They are.
The question, I guess I have, and Charles is alluding to it, we used to have a FIVCO guy here every fiscal court meeting.
Yeah.
We've not seen anybody for months on end.
They're down in staffing.
And what's going to happen when Eric leaves?
Well, we've got projects Jim has been working on since I took office that still
If we continue to
haven't.
use FIVCO, we're going to continue to miss out on a lot of dollars in this county.
Well, I don't know if we miss out on a lot of dollars, but there's a lot of work on Jim and I to go after these grants ourselves and try to get them wired to you all to get this money coming in. I'm not, I know what you're looking the other way. The treasurer, well, a couple of things. Number one, she's about maxed out on what you can ask her to do. So asking her to be a grant writer on top of everything else she does, it works on her hard. And number two, she's talked to other treasurers in other counties that say the ad district comes to them with grants. The county doesn't go to the ad district asking for grants. When Matt Adkins worked for FiveCo, Matt Adkins came to me, the brief time he worked for FiveCo, Matt Adkins came to me with about 3 or 4 different grants. Then Matt leaves FiveCo. That doesn't happen very much. Now, Eric Patton has done that, Doug Pinkerton has done that, but it's been me and Jim and Crystal finding these things and going, hey, what about this? Well, yeah, you guys can do that too. What do you mean we can do that too? This is what you do. You come to us and tell us what we can do. So it's frustrating. I don't mean to get frustrated like this, but I'm passionate about bringing as much money into my county and building stuff as we possibly can. And whenever I see an email where someone openly admits in a federal conversation about a grant, I have no clue what I'm doing, I'll need someone to hold my hand in this, and you know, there's times you've got to show your hand, and then there's times you go, I might need a little bit of assistance here through this process, specifically in the initiation, the overseeing, the contractual parts of that. But it just, and the person that wrote that email was being so honest. They are so deeply honest. I don't fault them for saying that. I just felt like it wasn't the right time to say it.
I'm really glad they did, because you found it out ahead of time when to do something.
Well, I don't know that Jim was supposed to see that email, but Jim went, what do you think about this? And my head spun around. So I called Foggy.
I'm glad you saw it.
So with that said, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank y'all. Number 22, approve ARPA expenditure approval form. Treasurer?
So this is the expenditure approval form so that we can use the remaining of our $730,044.50. This is the American Recovery Funds. It is sitting in the 07 federal grant account right now. What we're saying is we're using this money as revenue replacement for these accounts listed here on page 2. And then the other funds would be the funds remitted to Sites and Compass for the admin fees.
Do we have a copy of that?
That's right here.
It says American Rescue Plan Act, State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund Expenditure Approval. That's what's on top.
Okay. Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Dewey, the second by Chris. Any discussion? That said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 23, discuss approved payment of the redistricting committee. Jennifer, this is in your court. We've discussed this before our court. Why don't you share what some of the information you received, and then I'll share what Crystal, where I found out.
I reached out to some other county clerks asking what they pay their redistricting board members. And out of 19 that replied this evening, 13, 14 paid $100 per member per meeting. So that was just like, there was a couple that were more. One was a set price, like just $4.95 for the entirety, no matter how many times they met. Just a little different, but basically the majority of the counties are paying $100 per person per meeting for those 3 members.
I contacted several judge executives, and some of them were paying $500 flat rate. 2 of them. One of them was paying $100 flat rate, and another judge executive said he was paying $50 per meeting. So we just need to figure out what we would like to pay in Elliott County.
I guess my $10 offer's out the window. I said 10 those.
Well,
I would think that $100 is, if I did, $100 would be a fair enough offer. I mean, I don't know how everybody would feel about that, but they're going to take their time. We don't know how long their meetings are going to last or how many times they're going to meet, but
$100 flat rate.
Well, no, I wouldn't think $100 flat rate. I don't think that'd be fair to the individuals. If they did it in one meeting, it'd be all right, but you don't know how many meetings you're gonna have.
There's the $100 question.
It's gonna be.
What was you talking about, $100 per meeting or $100?
$100 per meeting per person.
That's what I thought,
That's
yeah.
what I was saying.
It's not gonna be a one meeting. Of those 19 county clerks, one county clerk told me they got theirs done in one meeting. And that's Harvey County. So I don't think it's gonna happen in one meeting.
You'd be better off about go with the flat rate.
I think of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. One of them was $4.95 flat rate for each member, so, you know, $500 for each member for the entirety of the process.
That's 5 meetings, I mean, that'd be, I mean,
$500 a member flat rate, $250.
And the other thing is, ours ain't been touched since back in the 70s at least, so they're gonna be in for a challenge, I think.
Pretty good chunk of change.
and then if they have to go back and re-look at it after we see, you know.
Yeah.
You're still gonna be, I think.
I think that the flat rate's smarter, but you don't wanna go with the $600
Yeah.
mark either, so I make a motion for
And
500 flat rate.
just remember whatever plan they come up with.
That's just $500
When they come
period.
back-
Yes.
For
And
their
when
service.
they come back to fiscal court and present the plan to you all, it's up to you whether you accept it or reject it. If you reject it, it's back to the board. So
That's another
there may
reason
be
that
some
flat
bouncing
rate.
That's
around.
why I'm saying, I make a motion for flat rate.
$500?
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Per member,
Per member, yeah.
yeah.
On the motion from Dewey, there's a second from Chris. Is there any further discussion? That said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please. Any opposed? Ayes have it. So I want to talk to you all about, and I want you to give me approval to move on here on the Bruin, the junction of 409 and 7. And kind of where we are there is we have got it down to 2 deeds. There is a deed that the state owns, property, and there is a deed where 4 interests own the property. Now, the 4 interests that own the property, I have been out of one of the interests who is speaking for 2 others, so that's 3 interests being spoken for. They are willing to just hand it over. The 4th interest says that they would be more than willing to discuss how they want to hand it over. They did not come out and say, they didn't come out and say free. They didn't say a price, but they said they would be willing to just have that discussion. I'm going to have to go to Justin Criswell and have him pull this from the survey that was done, and I've got this surveyed. It's stamped. Joe Kurt already has it finished. I'm going to have to go to Justin Criswell and ask him to act on behalf of the fiscal court to go to these parties and see what they will take, if anything, and if there are any other heirs on this property who may have interest, to see what needs to happen through that attorney, through Justin Criswell, to make this deal happen so we can buy the property.
I'll make the motion, you proceed with the procurement.
All right. Motion by Charles, a second by Michael. Is there any further discussion? Let's say all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right. Next on the agenda is to approve to go into executive session, and the executive session we're going into is based on 61.810, Section 1, and I need to see, because Johnny's not here, which one specific. Well, I'll go ahead and say we're going to talk about G. So I would like someone to make a motion to go into executive session 61.810, Section 1, subsection G.
Motion, what he said.
Motion by Charles, with a second by Michael. Let's say all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Need a motion to come out of executive session 61, based on KRS 61.810, Section 1, subsection G.
Make a motion.
Second.
Got a motion by Dewey, a second by Charles. The discussion would be no action was taken, and all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're back in business. Let's roll back to number 18. Johnny had to step out for a minute, so we'll roll back to number 18. Discuss and approve the contract with St. Clair regarding the food pantry. Johnny, I'd put this in your hands a couple weeks ago, and you said you would peruse it and get back with us on your thoughts.
I did. It's a contract where you're leasing from St. Clair, the food pantry. They set it up for a very low affordable price of $1. And I read through all of the lease. I didn't see anything in there that stood out to me. There's nothing in there that was unexpected in any kind of commercial lease. I didn't have any problem with it then, and I don't have any problem recommending to you to accept the lease in the form as presented.
So this will be leased by the county?
The fiscal court will be leasing from St. Clair.
And in the past, the Christian Center had this similar lease with them, I think it was. Didn't they lease we talking about the same thing?
They did, yes. The lease was with the Christian.
That contract
Okay.
with the Christian Center before.
Yeah.
Taking over, starting,
Well,
when this one is signed, it would sure be a similar type.
Okay, except we'll be assuming the lease on the property.
Well, here's a question. Would it be, and I'm catching you off the cuff here. Would it be wise for us to look into a sublease to the Christian Center, to the Christian board? They're going to be operating the food pantry. The county, the fiscal court on a day-to-day basis will not be operating. Would that be something we might want to look into as a sublease to the Christian board?
Well, that's something that's not contained in the
No,
lease from
true.
St. Clair. That would be other business.
All right.
That you might consider. I'm not sure if that's allowed or prohibited based on this lease.
Yeah, I never asked you that question. But I'm going to.
I'll make the motion to
Okay.
accept the contract. Second.
Motion by Charles, and second by Brian. Any further discussion? That said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye. I'm being told that this is one of the last before money is handed down. And then at that point, we would begin working with St. Clair to take bids to build the facility. That's what I'm being told.
Okay.
All right, we will jump up to 26. No. Okay, I got you. All right, number 26, discuss approved contract for land purchase on South 7. It's the property we spoke of. Basically, it's in two parts. We would pay half for the land in this fiscal year. We would pay half for the land in next fiscal year. The first half will come from the general fund. The second half will come from coal severance money.
Has this already been surveyed and?
I have a completed survey.
Deed
I
search.
have a deed. There is one more aspect to the deed that needs to be taken care of, and I think it may already be there. It was a formality, and he said it wouldn't be a big deal at all.
I'll make the motion. We approve the contract.
I said,
Motion by Charles, a second by Michael. Is there any further discussion? That said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, magistrates. Consideration of bills and transfers, approved paid and unpaid.
Didn't we need to make another motion here? I think we need to have.
Johnny, with the discussion about you being a signer on this,
Is that one of the itemized things here on here?
it is not.
I don't think you can do it probably in.
Are you okay if we, are you okay if we put that on the next meeting?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Shane, can you make note that we'll need to bring this back up? Yeah. All right.
Anybody can sign on behalf. What really happens,
Darn bean.
all of those homes, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Just
Blurred it 3 times.
the county has to elect in to be part of these settlements, so they send all kinds of forms to me, and I just, as soon as I get them, just fill them out to say that whatever money's coming to the county, we want it. So I'm just electing and
You just keep
keeping
signing.
on.
We're trying to send us money, you know.
I just keep
We don't stop.
electing in. You have the option to opt out.
Don't want to do that.
I don't think you want to do that, but we would discuss that at the right time if something else comes up. But as it stands now, we are in for everything that we can be in. Get what money's coming for future. We've had a little bit so far only got more coming.
Thank you for what you do, John.
Approved paid and unpaid bills.
I just want to make this note regarding the bills on page 5 of 6 there. You'll see where we have a payment for the costs for the ambulance service. We had initially discussed to
Thank you.
pay for those out of the opioid litigation funds and the travel funds. I reached out to Johnny, and Johnny reached out to Richard Ornstein, and we cannot spend opioid litigation funds on that. So we are going to do 50,000 out of the travel funds, and then the remaining, that 4,697.38 will come out of the general fund.
Now, while she said that, let me say this, there's gonna be another bill for another 50,000. This 54,000 was for the, where you connect them and lock them in place inside, and it's a charging station. What's that called?
It's just like a locking system.
Locking system, charging station. That's half. The other half's the actual costs.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna pay for that with the other half of the travel monies. There was 50 coming this fiscal year and 50 coming next fiscal year. You feel like you'll have it in July, right?
Yes.
So we'll use that money. So we're not pulling out of the general fund other than this 4,000 that she's asking you to approve here.
Motion to approve paid and unpaid bills.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Charles. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye, please. So number 2, approve the interfund budget transfers.
Mo.
Motion by Dewey, the second by Darren. Any further discussion? That said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 3, approve to pay trash for cash recipients.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by everybody. Who was more prominent?
Michael Dickerson.
Michael Dickerson.
Sounds good to me.
All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
All right. Number 4, approve to pay Mike Dickerson incentive training.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Charles, a second by Brian. All in favor signify by saying aye, please. Number 5, approve refund of COPS grant expenditures.
Okay, so we started this COPS grant in December of 2021. Whenever I was drawing down the funds on that grant, I was drawing down Casey's total pay. After I had drew down all the funds, I got a call from a COPS grant manager, I guess she was, or something of the sort anyway. And she was wondering why I didn't have any funds left. And we got to talking, and it turns out I was incorrectly drawn down all of his salary, and I should have only been drawn down his base salary. So, on this worksheet here that I've done, we're going to have to pay back $63,511.52 to the COPS grant. But we will be able to draw down through December of this year and back up to April 1st of this year, his base wages. So it's going to be about 45,000 we'll draw back down of that.
Where will this money come out of the general fund, or where will this come from?
Yes, it will come out of the general fund. I just did not know. I've never done a COPS grant before.
Now, that was a 3-year, wasn't it?
Yes.
So we'll be able to renew that next year.
Well, I mean, all the sheriff money goes people
Well,
in the general anyway, so.
The way she explained it to me, the way that has to work is, so this is going to extend now through 12/31 of 23. And we will have to retain him for 1 year at our own expense. And then we can apply for another COPS grant. But she said at that point, we would have to show that we couldn't afford to do that, to retain him. That's how she explained it to me.
We'll need to be smart in our grant application in October or September of 2024. That grant was has been a huge aid to us. It essentially paid for everything but his overtime.
I will make a motion because it's gonna have to be done.
Yeah.
Second.
Did you? Motion by Michael, second by Brian. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye, please. Communications from other offices, acknowledge monthly reports.
Motion to acknowledge.
Motion from Chris, second from Charles. All in favor? Any opposed?
Motion to adjourn.
One other thing before you adjourn. I just saw on the lease at St. Clair, it says that the county can sublease, but you have to have the written approval from St. Clair to be able to do that.
Who gave the second on the adjournment?
Second, I'll get it.
Okay, thank you all. Good night.